get our, okay, recording is in progress. So I guess we better get the meeting started. I certainly want to welcome everyone here and appreciate all you folks being here on this afternoon. We will ask Phil to read our typical COVID-19 statement. And after that, Wayne, if you would do the roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pursuant to the City of Roanoke Emergency Ordinance adopted by Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Conference Board on April 23rd, 2020 and 2021, Virginia General Assembly Legislation Senate Bill 1271 passed on February 27th, 2021. The May meeting of the Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Commission is being held virtually via Zoom today, Thursday, May 27th at 3 o'clock. Under the current state of emergency and until further notice, it has been deemed unsafe to assemble a quorum of a public body in one place. Any members of the public may view and participate in the meeting through electronic means. Meeting details are listed on the second page of the agenda. All materials made available to the members will be made available to the public at the same time by posting on the Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Commission website.
Okay, thank you, sir. Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Ms. Cox? Mr. Lanford?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Vandersdal?
I'm present.
Mr. Clinton?
Yes.
Ms. Henderson? Mr. LaRue? Mr. Billy Martin? Mr. Martin told me that he had to take his wife to the doctor for something, so he might not be able to make it. He was going to try to get back a little bit later. Mr. Collins? Mr. Spence? Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Carter? Mr. Whitlow?
Here.
Mr. Inslow? Ms. Smith?
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Here.
Mr. Hutchins? Mr. Dean Martin?
Here.
Mr. Radford?
Here.
Mr. North?
Here.
Mr. Osborne? Mr. Osborne? Ms. Onitis? Mr. Tucker?
Here.
Mr. Bestpitch?
Here.
Ms. Moon Reynolds?
Here.
Dr. Downey?
Here.
Stanko Downey, sorry. Mr. Jeffrey?
Here.
Mr. Guzzler? Mr. Guzzler? Mr. Vollison? Mr. Vollison? Mr. Wallace?
Present.
Mr. Saunders?
Here.
Ms. King?
Here.
Mr. Unruh?
Here.
Mayor Marshall?
Here.
Mr. Newbill? Mayor Gross? He's here. Mr. Peters?
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman. Have we lost? Lost Mayor Gross? There you are. He's connecting. Okay.
Thought we had a coup.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm having a few technical difficulties here, but hopefully we'll get through it. All right, with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Today it contains, of course, the approval of the agenda, the minutes from our April 22nd meeting, as well as the financial reports. I assume we've had an opportunity to look at all that. Are there any changes or additions to the consent agenda? Hearing none, we will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Chairman, I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda items on agenda item 2.
Second.
Thank you, sir.
Was that
Okay, I
Mr.
think-
Tucker who made the second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I'll call the roll. Mr.
Please.
Lanford,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Vandersdal,
Yes.
Mr. Clinton,
Yes.
Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins isn't here. Okay. Mr. Whitlow,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Mr. Dean Martin,
Here.
Mr. Radford,
Yes.
Mr. North,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. Bestfitch,
Yes.
Ms. Moon Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Stanko Downey,
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Aye.
Mr. Saunders, Ms. King,
Aye.
Mr. Unruh,
Yes.
Mayor Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Newbill. Mr. Newbill, okay. Mayor Gross
Yes.
and Mr. Peters.
Yes.
The motion passes. And Mr. Chairman, I wanted to mention that Mr. Unruh, Chuck Unruh, has just been appointed to fill the citizens slot for Clifton Forge. So we're glad to have him as a new member.
Yes, you betcha. Welcome. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your time with Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Commission. Okay, under the remarks this afternoon, just a couple of things I want to mention very quickly. And just want to let everyone know that all member governments have passed the recommendation to change the charter of our organization. And of course, this would reduce the number of board members from 38 to 30. So thanks goes out to all of our commission representatives for working with our colleagues on our local government boards and councils to make sure that this charter change was accomplished. The change in the board size will become effective July 1, 2022. So thank you, folks. That was a major change, and it went quite smoothly, I thought. The second item is, as you know, every year in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we celebrate Transportation Day, the Thursday before Memorial Day, which of course is today. As you know, a lot of work goes into keeping our transportation system in good working order to enable our businesses and citizens to move about efficiently and effectively. And so I want to thank everyone present in the meeting today that works so hard to keep our transportation going here in our region. The Regional Commission has prepared a short video recognizing Celebrate Transportation Day. So I'm not sure. There we go. Thank you, Tim.
Today, the Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Commission and the Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization are celebrating transportation. A good transportation system is an economic lifeline not only for our region, but for the Commonwealth.
Our organizations are responsible for planning future improvements to our region's transportation system from the Allegheny Highlands to the Roanoke Valley. In order to plan for the future, Regional Commission staff have assessed the problems that people or businesses experience getting to where they are going or moving what they are selling or receiving. Given limited time and funding, knowing the key issues in our community will guide transportation planners and decision makers to address the region's most important transportation needs.
We identified over 500 transportation needs in the urbanized area for access, traffic, safety, and system management. Today we will talk about a need from each category. The Department of Motor Vehicles is frequently cited as a place that is difficult to access for people who aren't driving. The nearest bus stop is 2 miles away. Real-time data pulled from smartphones shows that Orange Avenue from Plantation Road to Hollins Road has more traffic than normal for the Roanoke Valley. the Virginia Department of Transportation is modifying intersections to help with traffic flow and safety. Most people wouldn't think of the intersection of Electric Road and Roanoke Boulevard as being a particularly dangerous place because we don't see many crashes here. But when there is a crash here, it is more likely to involve serious injuries. With good system management, we make the most of what we have and we keep it in good repair. System management includes bus service frequency, repavement, coordinated traffic lights, and more.
In the rural area, we have identified needs on over 179 miles of highway, which includes 30 intersections and 25 bridges. Today, we will talk about a few of those needs. In the rural area, many public comments and local leaders have highlighted Interstate 81, especially the curves near exits 167 and 168 in Botetourt County, which have already had some safety measures installed in the past few years. The Virginia Department of Transportation inspects over 10,000 bridges a year, and 30 have been identified as being in poor condition in our rural area. While many are on low traffic loads, they still carry local trucks, school buses, and provide access to homes, businesses, and farms. A large portion of needs in the rural area focus on geometric deficiencies such as curves, hills, and short sight distances at intersections. Bicycle and pedestrian safety is also important throughout the rural area, especially in Covington, Clifton Forge, Newcastle, Iron Gate, and other key areas such as this Appalachian Trail crossing.
Our region is fortunate to have good air quality and relatively little traffic congestion, and we'd like to keep it that way. Addressing critical needs to improve our region's roads, transit, and multimodal infrastructure will keep the Roanoke Valley-Alleghany region moving forward.
Here's Brad.
We lose Brad again?
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe I'll go on the executive director's report if that's okay with everybody, just in the interest of time. I just had a few things, and this one part is particularly for the folks who are in the Appalachian service area of our region, which is that northern part that was just shown on the map, that we now have two, I guess, folks who are from this greater area that will help support some of the projects and programs that would be important for the Appalachian region of Virginia. As you know, Governor Northam has been elected to be the state's co-chair of the 13 states that are in the Appalachian region. But we just found out too that the new ARC federal co-chair, Gail Manchin, is now the state federal co-chair. It's great because of Virginia's, we have two states side by side that will be that are in the leadership of Appalachian Regional Commission. The second thing I'd like to mention is that the president will be releasing the administration's budget tomorrow. And I think it's important for us to see what kinds of allocations he's going to be making to all the federal agencies that we work with. And as you know, we work with 7 federal agencies, and for every dollar that our local governments put in, we were able to leverage $4 or $5 from mainly federal sources, but also some state sources as well. So you might want to keep an eye on that. Also, in August, we typically go to the ball game in Salem, and we've been working with the city of Salem to see if they're willing to host us again. It might be a little different configuration this time. We may keep the food in the skybox, but then people can sit outside, scatter up on the third base side of the field and attend the ball game. That's something that we've been doing as a social kind of a get together so people can meet each other informally. We've done that for several years. We obviously didn't do it last year, but this will be the first time we've gotten together since 1999 in terms of social get together, I suppose. anyway, we'll let you know more about it because it would be in August. So glad to hear about that. There's the mayor. Okay.
Okay. I tell you what, I love this technology when it works. It's great. So, but anyhow, well, thank you for
Mr.
that
Chairman,
report, Wayne.
I just want to mention did you want to
Yes.
mention to them about in-person meetings? Maybe.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for that, Wayne. Wayne and I've talked about this a little bit, and I understand there's been some discussion with the staff, and of course, it will depend upon what restrictions are in place at the time. But just wanted to let everyone know we are definitely working on that. One of the challenges we have, of course, is the size of our meeting room. So as I say, we don't know exactly what restrictions or recommendations will be in place, but we're trying to get that worked out. We may possibly have to meet somewhere else, but hopefully everything will be lifted and we'll be able to have our typical in-person meeting. Maybe September, I guess, would probably be the target because typically we don't have a July meeting. And as Wayne mentioned, we usually go to Salem for August. So we will definitely keep everyone informed. So we'll just cross our fingers and see what happens there. All right. Wayne, did you want to add anything to that? Has anything come up since you and I talked?
No, so we're just waiting for the governor to determine that the state of emergency ends in June, and after that, it will be up to how we want to handle the in-person meetings. And the staff is pretty much back to the commission now, and we're, and I know we've had a lot of comments from commissioners about getting back together, but wherever we go, we still want to have some distance between folks. And so we're looking that we may have to rent a place, as the mayor said, that allows us to have some distance between. And upstairs, as you know, it's a very comfy, close place for when we have meetings. And so we typically have 25 commission members attend. And so that kind of pushes the envelope in our current conference room. So.
Yeah, sure does. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, next item is workforce development update. I understand, did Morgan Romeo sign on? Is he with us this afternoon?
Yeah, Morgan's with us. The last time we had Morgan here, she talked about the regional, CTE study, career technical education study, which she didn't get a chance to talk about what the workforce board was doing. So we asked Morgan to come, and she was just here. I think there she is. Hi, Morgan.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Is she there?
She is.
I'm here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. I'm going to share my screen. Give me just 1 second. Have to find the little green button and make sure everything is good. Sorry. I love Zoom. You'd think I'd have it down pat by now. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try to make sure that this goes on the right slide. Hopefully it'll work. Did that work? Everybody see the right screen? Full screen?
Yes.
Awesome, cool.
Yes.
Great,
Yes.
when technology works for me. Well, thanks for the introduction. My name is Morgan Romeo. I'm the Executive Director of the Western Virginia Workforce Development Board, also known as Virginia CareerWorks. If you see the pink bird flying around, that's kind of what everybody knows us by these days. And I'm excited to present to you guys today. And like Wayne said, I was there, I guess it was back in the spring or back in the fall, I guess, almost a year ago, presenting on the regional CTE study, and wanted to give you guys kind of a look at what the Workforce Development Board does in general and some of the activities that we're doing. As you can imagine, workforce development is a hot topic on a normal day, and during COVID, it's been even more of a topic because of how many people have been unemployed and how businesses are now struggling to find the workers they need because we have so many folks that are unemployed. So just a little bit of background about us. Virginia CareerWorks is really the workforce development system of the region. And when I say region, we cover the exact same district as Planning District 5, so the Roanoke Valley and the Allegheny Highlands. This system is overseen by Workforce Development Board, and that's the organization that I'm the executive director of. And really, we have a couple of different functions. Primarily is to convene workforce development partners throughout the region. There are a lot of different entities that perform workforce development activities in some way, shape, or form. And so we kind of serve as the corral, if you will, to try to get everybody together and make sure that we're not duplicating services and really filling those gaps for services where they're needed. The state has kind of put another title for us recently, is, you know, with all of the need for talent pipeline development and really ensuring that we can meet the needs of our businesses and provide a workforce to kind of become the premier talent development resource in the region. And then, of course, our other big primary source is to manage federal, state, local, and other discretionary grants that come to us for workforce development activities. And I'll talk about those in just a few minutes. So just to give you a look at how Virginia works for the workforce development systems, as I said, we cover Planning District 5, but currently there are 14 other workforce development areas that are across the Commonwealth. You can see they're broken up differently. Some are larger than others. We are actually, if you're really good with Roman numerals, are missing an area 5 and an area 10 in the numbers. Over the years, we've kind of combined and split apart based on geography or population or where it makes sense. So you can see our region there. And this is a little bit about how we are governed. So as I said, we were created technically by federal law, but our local region is combined of the 8 localities that we serve. And a member of each of those localities, Board of Supervisors or City Council, actually serves on what we call our CLEO Consortium, the Chief Local Elected Official Consortium. And so they're really the driving force behind our strategy, making sure that, you know, we're meeting the needs of the localities in terms of workforce development. And that CLEO Consortium appoints our Workforce Development Board, which right now is 29 members. And Wayne, I can tell you, having a 29, 30 member board is much easier than managing higher than that. You said that number, I thought, oh my gosh. So congrats on that one. But so it is business, private sector led. We have about a 52% majority business members, and then the rest are private or public sector members that represent workforce development partners. We do have labor unions, and then other partners that are integral to providing workforce development services. So just to give you kind of a look at what kind of partners or organizations encompass the workforce development system, as you can see, we're kind of in the middle corralling this, but I'm sure everybody has heard of the Virginia Employment Commission these days. They're a pretty popular entity. We also work very heavily with our community colleges, Virginia Western and Dabney Lancaster, economic development, vocational rehabilitation, nonprofits and community-based organizations like TAP and Goodwill, all of our departments of social services, and then adult education providers. This is just an example. It is not exclusive to these. We have a lot of other partners that run the gambit in our region, and so we try to work with them all. So we have 2 primary customers in the workforce development system, businesses and job seekers. Really, our first and foremost customer is the business community, because without the business community, there would be no jobs. So we really try to make sure that we are training and providing the skills to job seekers to meet the business demand. We have a couple of different ways that we do this. Prior to COVID, our 3 centers were kind of the hot spots, but as everyone has had to adapt to virtual services in COVID, we've really tried to do a lot of our business via electronic means, and really it's become a lot more efficient and effective for us, especially with a large region. But we still have our 3 centers. We still plan to have our 3 centers where job seekers can come and utilize our equipment, computers, phone, fax machines, scanner, copier, anything they need, talk to someone one-on-one about their job search needs, and just get that one-on-one assistance. We have a lot of folks who are struggling. You know, the unemployment system has been a challenge for everyone. It's changed quite a few times over this last few years, or over the last year. So we've had a lot of folks come in just to get help filing their claim because they don't understand, you know, how it works. So those have been very popular recently. So just a brief overview of some of our job seeker services. So again, we help a lot with one-on-one job search, resume help, interview techniques. We also keep going on that. So if we are working with someone that we notice wants to go into a career that they don't have the skills to quite get a job, an entry level or mid-level job, we can actually pay for them to go to training or skill development coursework to get their skills up. This can run anywhere from, basic Microsoft Office certifications, if they're in that kind of field, all the way up to getting an associate's degree, or getting an advanced certification like CNA, LPN, helping them move on to their RN license. And we really help try to make sure that those folks are getting the skills they need to get jobs that are in the region. So while those folks are in training, we also pay for supportive services. So, while you're in school, you're not working most of the time. So helping them with transportation, helping them with other needs, and then connecting them with other resources in the community to have other needs met, like childcare, food assistance, rental assistance, all that good stuff, so they can focus on their training and get through it and be successful. We also have a big population of youth that we work with. The youth are fun, let me tell you. I've actually had the experience to case manage a few of them myself lately, and they're a trip. And most things pop up out of nowhere that they need, but really just helping them with mentoring, understanding how to navigate life as a young adult with barriers to employment. So that's a big service that we provide. So on the flip side, our business services, this is becoming really popular right now. For those of you that have not seen it, we're having our first in-person hiring event. We're doing it outside, so still maintaining that social distancing, but we're having it on June 3rd at our Roanoke Center. So if anybody would like information, I'll make sure to get that to Virginia after so she can share it. But we're pairing it with a vaccination clinic. So it's not required to get a vaccination to attend the job fair, but always good to get that in check. But have already, I think the last count, we had 53 employers signed up to attend. Everyone's really excited to be in person and see everybody. Our Facebook ads have been blowing up with job seekers that want to attend, because it's the first week that job seekers on unemployment have to restart that job search requirement. So timing that out perfectly. So, job fairs, we provide training funds to businesses as well for those of them that want to send their folks to training. We've recently gotten into LinkedIn Learning. We're actually providing free licenses to community members for LinkedIn Learning. So I'll be sure to share that information with Virginia as well. Folks can take advantage of those licenses. Anybody for professional development, over 10,000 courses. It's really quite awesome. And we provide information to them on labor market information. Are their wages hitting the mark? Are they providing the right benefits? Just generally helping them with their recruitment and training of and retention of their employees. So we do a lot. I actually found this word cloud. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And so we kind of tailored it to make sure, but we have a really wide range of services that we provide. And so I wanted to give you that brief overview, but then talk a little bit specifically about some of the specific programs that we're thinking about now or starting to do for the next program year. Talent development obviously is a huge piece of what we do. We partner very closely with the Roanoke Regional Partnership on this effort because they have a piece of talent attraction. So, kind of focusing on talent attraction, those out-of-market folks with the partnership, and then we kind of focus on the retention of keeping who's here. Trying to link businesses with training providers to make sure that they're all aware we have these great community colleges and great training providers that are producing great talent. And some businesses have no idea that those programs exist. Customized training with businesses, expanding our Get to Know Noke, really making sure that career awareness and awareness of what is here and what kind of jobs you can get are here. And then just really, focusing on a lot and taking some innovative approaches to providing career exploration and training to individuals. We're also focusing a lot on sector strategy. So we have a few employer roundtables that we're holding on a quarterly basis now with businesses. And really it's a time for them to get together, share best practices, understand that they all have the same challenges, making sure that they're kind of collaborating in a sense on some solutions because, we don't want them to compete. So we have 3: manufacturing, healthcare, and technology. Have done a lot of hiring events. A really good example of a recent strategy we did was with Eldor, just doing an open house with them, trying to get people aware of some of the things that they do and are really starting to beef that up with other employers. Career Quest is another big thing that we've got going on. So for those of you that weren't aware, in 2019, we started our Career Quest initiative, working with the K through 12 school system, mainly 7th graders. And we had our inaugural event in September of 2019 and had over 4,000 7th graders come to the Salem Civic Center. And we had 45, 50 businesses that were there that actually brought hands-on activities for the kids to interact with. So, Volvo was there. They brought little trucks that kids competed to put together fast so they could learn how to do the assembly part. We had F&S Building Innovations and the Contractors Association brought all these wood pieces and hammers and nails and drills. That was one of the most popular events because the kids just loved that. And then we also had, outside we had baby cows, we had dogs from the police department. It was crazy. So of course that got canceled in 2020. We were really disappointed, but the schools are so passionate about it. They've asked us to do 2 events this fall. One for the 7th graders that will be in there, that's this year, but then another for the 8th graders who are current 7th graders who missed out on the opportunity. So we'll have those in October. You'll see our event September and October at the Salem Civic Center. And we'll have 11 school districts participating. All of the localities in our region will participate, as well as Montgomery County, Radford City, and Floyd County. So super excited about that. And if anyone's interested in volunteering, we'd be happy to serve. It is quite fun, I promise. For those of you that did do it, I don't know if you can pipe in, but it was great. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was we actually just recently got an Inspire grant through the Appalachian Regional Commission, which you all are very familiar with. We are focusing our grant in Allegheny County, Covington City, and Craig County for residents that have experienced substance abuse and are in recovery from substance abuse. If any of you all have looked at any statistics, the opioid epidemic and just substance abuse in general in the Highlands is a lot higher than our area. They have a real challenge with that. And so really trying to figure out how to connect those folks in recovery, the inpatient providers, the outpatient providers, to the workforce development system. There are tons of studies that show employment is one of the biggest reasons for success for someone being sober and being successful. And so trying to really instill that. Also providing a lot of wraparound support, of course, housing, rental assistance, and even down payments on transportation as a car. So super excited about that grant and look forward to working with the county and the city and Craig County to implement that. And then, sorry about that. As Wayne said, I did want to mention the career and technical education piece. We work very closely with our K through 12 partners. We did complete the study, the CTE Collaborative. We have not convened yet. Schools have been just a mess with COVID, trying to get them through this year. We are planning to meet sometime in June to potentially start the first phase of our collaborative, which is to really gather inventory of all of our CTE programs that are in the region and figure out where there's some gaps and figure out how we can better track data on waiting lists and things like that. We've been very heavily involved this year in the Perkins plan development. If any of you are in that space, that's the plan they get to from the state that they have to get money, and really helping expand registered apprenticeship in the region. And then the last couple things I want to mention, we actually just recently got a grant with from the state to help Carillion hire 9 community health workers, which is fantastic. So they will be helping with the vaccination and COVID-19 education, just really trying to get our region up to that herd immunity status so we can join the rest of the region. But they'll be traveling and supporting in communities that are a little bit more vulnerable or don't have access to the services, trying to get the vaccinations to them where they are, and really connecting with employment and educational opportunities too. So Carillion's in the process of posting those jobs, and we're super excited to be able to support them in that and give them some reimbursement until they can bring them on full time. So great things for the region there. And then the last thing I want to talk about was our summer employment program. We are focusing on youth ages 16 to 24. This is something we do with our normal federal funds, but really focusing with kids with barriers to employment or education. And we're actually working to place them in internships. And so I know Pete Peters is on here, and he has graciously said the town of Benton will participate, waiting for some of our kids to get enrolled, and Roanoke City is already participating. So super thankful for that. but a really great service for kids who are out of school and really just want to get a summer job and understand, what careers are here and help get them placed. So if anybody knows anyone, we'd be happy to talk to them and get them enrolled in the program. It's a really great opportunity for everybody. So here's my contact information, and I'll be happy to share it in the chat as well. And I think Virginia's going to send out my PowerPoint afterwards. But I'd be happy to answer any questions now, or feel free to email me and let me know if you have any additional questions. And I just thank you guys all for the opportunity to be here, and wish Wayne well on his retirement, and really appreciate all the help he's given me over the years. So thanks for that.
All right, Morgan, thank you very much. That was a lot of great information. Are there any questions for Morgan this afternoon? Nope. Okay, again,
Mr. Chairman,
thank you very much.
I had
We
a question.
appreciate that presentation.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Morgan, there's been a lot of, are you anticipating a rush of people? I guess the VEC would, because they're going to have to start looking for jobs, and and at least have what, 2 appointments a week or something in order to get their unemployment, correct?
Yes, so we've actually already started to see a big increase. We have been limiting our traffic. Our Roanoke Center is the only center that is open to the public at this point. We have staff in the other centers, but they're not necessarily seeing people on a walk-in basis. But we've actually started to see an increase in folks since the announcement came out about the job search requirement. So we think it's related to that. Obviously, we won't know specifics until next week, is when there's also a lot of confusion around when the job search requirement starts and things. If anybody wants a really fun read, if you want to join the Virginia Unemployment Problem Facebook group, it gives you some really good insight into what folks are doing. I joined it that's where I learned a lot of information about what people are seeing. And it actually gives me a heads up for folks that come in our center. They're just very confused. And so I anticipate probably not next week would be the week that we get the traffic. It will be the following week when folks don't enter their information correctly, and then they get issues on their claim and they won't get paid. So that's kind of my guess, if I have to guess there.
Thank you, Morgan.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you folks will be really busy.
Mayor Gross, this is Pam. I have a question for Morgan.
Sure.
Yes.
With the town of Clifton Forge, we do not have a school system in town, but would it be possible for us to participate in this program, our youth?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so make sure we get your contact, and I have the town manager contact you.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat so everybody has it.
Thank you so much. Great. It was informative. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that question. Any other questions for Morgan before she gets away?
Yes,
Nope.
Mr. Chairman, this is Elda Stanko Downey, and I just want to do a big thank you to Morgan for that presentation, and just a shout out to CareerWorks and the VEC for making all services and information available in English, Spanish, and other commonly spoken languages in the Commonwealth. That's fantastic. So thank you.
Of course.
That is good news. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? All right, again, Morgan, thank you very much. Very interesting.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, and with that, we'll move on to the work program. I understand Jeremy has some information on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, members of the board. You should have in your agenda packet a copy of the proposed fiscal year 22 Regional Commission work program for your consideration and approval this afternoon. Just as a little bit of background, you're probably aware the work program process started this past December when we solicited all of our member localities for projects to be included in the coming year. And then under the leadership of the work program committee, our regional commission planning staff and our finance director, Ms. Sherry Dean, worked to select the projects that best fit with the capacity and the budget for the here at the Commission for the coming year. I do want to take a moment, that said, to recognize and thank the members of the Work Program Committee who helped shepherd this process through. So a big thank you to Mr. Collins, Mr. Irvin, who is enjoying his retirement by now. So that's probably a better thank you than what I can offer. Mayor Marshall, Mr. Billy Martin, Mr. North, Mr. Peters, Mr. Tucker, Ms. Vanderstall, and Mr. Whitlow. That was very helpful. Your guidance and leadership in helping us go through this project selection was much appreciated. The work program, as you'll see, reflects over 30 local and regional projects that cover all of the jurisdictions in our service area, in addition to the many ongoing required projects that come from our state and federal requirements and other regional collaboration efforts carried out by the Commission every year. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the work program. And otherwise, we're looking for a motion and a vote to accept it for next year.
Okay, Jeremy, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Any questions or comments? Okay, if not, we will entertain a motion to approve the work program as presented.
Chairman, I make a motion, we approve agenda item number 7. Agenda item number 6 of the 2022 work program.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. North, and I think that was Mr. Tucker that said you second, isn't that right?
Mr.
Yes.
So Wayne, if you would call the roll.
Yes. Mr. Lanford,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Vandersdal,
Yes.
Mr. Clinton,
Yes.
Mr. Whitlow,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Mr. Dean Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Radford,
Yes.
Mr. North,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne,
I vote to approve.
Miss Onitis. Miss Onitis.
Yes.
Thank
I
you. Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. Bestpitch,
Yes.
Miss Moon Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Stanko Downey,
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Aye.
Mr. Saunders, Miss King,
Yes.
Mr. Unruh,
Yes.
Mayor Marshall,
Yes.
Mayor Gross,
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
The motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, folks, for that. And with that, we will move on to the next item, which is consideration of the Executive Committee's recommendation for a new executive director. As you know, folks, after Wayne's announcement, we did form a search committee for his replacement. And I would just very briefly like to thank the folks on the search committee. That was Mr. Phil North, Mr. Dean Martin, Mr. Billy Martin, Mr. Bill Bestpitch, Mr. Lee Osborne, Mr. Alan Tucker, Mrs. Joan Vandersall, and of course I served as the chair, and Sherry Dean was our staff person. And I'd like to thank that committee for a great job. It's a really, really good committee. We had great attendance and everyone participated. So that committee did advertise the position. As a matter of fact, we advertised it in the publications from Virginia Association of Planning District Commissions, the Virginia Association of Counties, and the Virginia Municipal League. And we had a couple of really strong candidates that we interviewed. The process included asking the candidates the same questions and getting follow-up and feedback from that. And just to be perfectly candid, Jeremy did a great job. He just really hit it out of the ballpark. And so the search committee recommended to the executive committee that we offer the position to Mr. Holmes. And of course, the executive committee discussed the nominee, and they unanimously voted to recommend to the entire commission that we hire Mr. Jeremy Holmes as our next executive director. So with that, we'll certainly entertain a motion and a second, but also I'd like to give everyone an opportunity to comment, and most especially the members of our committees. They work very hard, and particularly the search committee. We had a short timeline and really stayed on it, and Sherry did a great job in keeping us in line and keeping all the records. So again, thank you, committee members. And would any of you folks like to make comments at this time?
Mr. Chairman.
Well, they talk. Go ahead.
Of course.
Yes.
I think you wore us out on the committee there, Mr. Chair, but
Yeah.
in a good way. No, I would say that this committee did a pretty thorough job of vetting out the applicants and discussing with each one. It was pretty clear that Jeremy did knock it out of the park, although when Wayne pitches to him in August at the Salem Red Sox game, we'll see how far he can hit the ball. I'm just kidding, but I think that his experience working with Wayne over these years was a big factor. Not to mention he performed well in the video as well as in the online interview. And we look forward to working with him after Wayne's departure. And I think we have a good leader to look forward to serving the region as well as everyone going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Any other comments?
Chairman,
Okay.
Lee Osborne, I think you covered this pretty thoroughly, but I just wanted to assure the commission that we did a fairly broad regional process for seeking candidates. And even though we had a limited number of applications, we then followed through and interviewed those who did apply. And so I think our committee felt that it was really important that we fully vet those who had an interest. And all I can say is that, you know, sometimes your best things are grown at home. And we were very pleased to be able to recommend Jeremy. And it was certainly a unanimous decision of our committee.
Yes, yes, that's right. Thank you, Lee, and thank you, Phil. Anyone else? All right. If there are no other comments, we will entertain a motion concerning the recommendation from the executive committee to hire Mr. Holmes for the position. Is there a motion?
So moved. It's Robert Jeffrey.
Second, Elda Stanco.
Okay. All right. So Wayne, any other comments, questions? If not, Wayne, if you would call roll, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Lanford,
Yes.
Ms. Vandersdal,
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Clinton,
Yes.
Mr. Whitlow,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes, with a comment, Jeremy, I hope your next 40 years are as fruitful as Wayne's last 40 years.
Mr. Dean Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Radford,
Yes.
Mr. North,
Yes.
Mr. Osborne,
Yes.
Ms. Onitis,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. Bestpitch,
Yes.
Ms. Moon Reynolds,
Yes.
Dr. Stanko Downing,
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey,
Yes, and I want to say fantastic choice by the committee.
Mr. Wallace, Aye. Okay. Mr. Saunders, Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Unruh,
Yes.
Mayor Marshall,
Yes.
Mayor Gross,
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
The motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir, very much. And thank all of you. Certainly an important decision and one that I know our committee is excited about. I'm just really excited and looking forward to working with you, Jeremy. Don't want to put you on the spot, but did you have any comment you'd like to make? I guess I did put you on the spot.
You did. Well, the first thing I want to say to Mr. O'Donnell's point, if I'm here for 40 years, I'll be 84 at that desk. And I hope at 84, I'm reading a book on the beach somewhere. Though, you know, wherever service calls, that's where I'll be.
I think the first thing you should do is institute a wellness program.
Term limits. Well, you know, first of all, I want to thank the board and the executive committee for this recommendation, and I'm clearly thrilled and honored to be able to take this position. Wayne has joked quite a bit about the size of the shoes that the next executive director was going to have to fill, and he's not wrong. Yeah, he's built this organization with the help and support of the board into a very well respected, not just locally, but I think amongst PDCs and regional councils in the country. And so that's a great trust that you put in me to take leadership of that role. But we have a fantastic staff, a fantastic board, and I know that they'll make sure that I don't mess up too badly if no one else does. So thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy. We're all looking forward to working with you, that's for sure. Okay, Commission, any other business?
Just one comment,
Pardon me?
Mr. Chairman. At what point in time is Wayne going to do his happy dance for us? Is that next month sometime?
Yeah. Who knows? By that time I might just do it. Who knows?
I think when the video goes off, he starts dancing. I don't know, but yeah. Any other business before the commission this afternoon? Any further comments from the commission or public? All right. If there are no other comments, no other business, we will officially adjourn the meeting. Thank you, folks, very much for a good, productive meeting, and thank you for your time this afternoon.
Be safe.
God bless.
Hey, have a safe weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.